Good morning, everyone. Looks like we have a good turnout this morning. We're going to take a switch from safety and switch over here and talk about telematics a little bit. And with me today, I got a couple of gentlemen here that I would say are pretty well the experts of the industry and been around the AEMP for a long time with John Howerton with Navman Wireless. And John's been with Navman for about 6 years. In 2014, he was promoted to Director of Construction Equipment Sales, responsible for growing construction sales in U.S. and Canada. John's past experience was working with the dealer and multiple telematics systems, and he's received his Bachelor of Science with Illinois University. And also, we got Fred Sixt with us today, and I've known Fred for a long time. He's been around AEMP for several years now, and with Telogis, and he's experienced in sales management and has a lot of depth in the industry and construction equipment and telematics. And past companies were Qualcomm and Komatsu. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get started here today, and we're going to talk a little bit about where we're going in the future here with 2G and 3G. I'm sure many of you in the audience today have multiple units that may be, so to speak, going dead here soon. So these guys are going to talk a little bit about what's going on with the evolution from 2G to 3G devices. And also, I know we have some other folks out here in the audience from some other manufacturers, being Caterpillar, Komatsu, and Case, and John Deere, and Volvo. And you guys may have some comments to fall in on this as well, because I know everybody here has multiple brands of equipment, and everybody's trying to figure out how to keep these devices up to date and keep that information coming in on their equipment as needed. So let's go ahead and get started.
So we had some questions, I think.
Yeah, questions would be why are we changing? Why are we changing from 2G to 3G devices?
I wanted to start maybe to give an analogy to construction equipment that makes some sense. It's almost as if you were running a 1-inch hydraulic line at X pressure, and now you got a 5-inch line. That's kind of what's going on with 2G and 3G. And the numbers are huge. In other words, if 2G is a 1, 3G is 1,500, and 4G is like 30,000. So with the smartphones and Netflixes and streaming and all the rest, they don't have a choice. They could never run on 2G very long. They're pretty much out of spectrum now. And spectrum is like the pipe. They only have so much pipe they can use, and it's much more efficient in 3 and 4G than 2. Anyway, that's my take on it.
John, would you like to add to that?
No, what Fred said is exactly right. With videos and games, who has kids, you see a lot of that, the videos and the games being played on the phones. That's why they're migrating from 2G to 3G and 4G. In the United States, those of you that have operations overseas, you'll see that the 2G networks there are going to still stick around because they have more companies or more customers on 2G than we do here in the States. Most of our customers, most of the carriers' customers from a cell phone perspective have migrated already to 3 and 4G. How many of you, think about your phone. Are you on 3G or 4G? Now, telematics side, that's where we've got to make the change and the switch from the 2G to the 3G.
The good news is publicly AT&T says that they don't have any plans to shut down 3. So that's good. So when you switch now, at least as far as they're telling us publicly, they expect that to be quite a while. They don't have any intention to shut it down. So there's no real need to even think about or talk about 4G, which, by the way, if you did get 4G, it's going to be phone-style prices because the chip is that much more expensive than the 3 and the 2.
And for you, those of you who do not know, AT&T is, for the most part, the biggest supplier for the communication of the telematics for most companies.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
The next question we would have maybe to talk about a little bit would be, what does this mean to the end user? What's this? How's this going to affect everybody here in the audience today, Fred?
Well, obviously, this is a gradual transition between now and 2017. So you could argue that 2G is alive, but the real in practice, where your machines are running around, they're going to shut down these towers one at a time and pulling 2G equipment out and putting 3 and 4 in. So you're going to find if you delay your decision to go to 3G now, you're going to get less coverage geographically, and the latency is going to be higher because there's not going to be that many cells still alive. And then by 2017, Verizon and AT&T will have, their plans are, at least explicitly publicly, is 2017, it's gone, 2G is. So if you wanted to wait, you're going to just be in more and more trouble tracking your machines, and at 17 they're going to be gone, dark on 2G.
Anything you want to add?
And to further talk about that a little bit, what's going to happen if you're on, say, T-Mobile or Sprint? They haven't made the decision yet to migrate from 2G to 3G, so they're going to keep their 2G up and running. If, say, you're using one of those carriers while you roam, and if you roam on the AT&T network, you'll be out of coverage because you won't pick up your data. So hopefully your units will store that data and download when you get back into coverage. So some things to check on right there. First, who is the carrier that provides the backbone for the system you have, and what is the plan for them to migrate from to 3G.
So the next question everybody's wondering is the suppliers, you folks all bought and purchased equipment over the last several years that had some of this 2G equipment on it, and now the stuff's basically going dead and going bad, and you're going to have to replace it. What's the suppliers doing to address this issue?
Well, we've put out a lot of emails to our customers and even potential customers a couple of years back, stating this is going to happen, and arguing that you could look at your carrier and then look at your carrier map and switch the box from what the map you're looking at from voice to data. Data will tell you what the coverage is, but even the maps basically are saying that this is a tower and it's covered. In practice, sometimes it's harder to say it's going to work for you. Verizon and AT&T for sure at 17 are going to go dark. And like you say, Sprint's going to stay alive. They say till 2021 or something. I think Sprint has not bought any spectrum in a while. AT&T and Verizon have need for spectrum, and they've been buying a lot of spectrum for their new stuff. And I think Sprint's going to Sprint has never had quite the coverage that Verizon and AT&T had anyway. I think Sprint's going to stay in like Coke machines and refrigerators that diagnose themselves. For that market in 2G, it works. The other two, the big ones, are going to go to the phones and run their data through that. So basically, like he says, if you don't have Sprint, it's going to be pretty much dead at 17.
John, how about you guys?
Yeah, the thing you got to look at here is, AT&T, for example, they let us know sometimes 30 days in advance of locations of where the tower sites are going to be shut down and go black. That's not a lot of time to move. Sometimes we get up to 90 days, but that's like the miracle of happening. But so what we've done is we've migrated our customers over, started the migration of customers over to 3G. We do work close with the carriers, so when we know something like this is going to happen in the future, we'll start producing a box that will take care of, we'll have 3G and the latest and greatest of technology. So as we find out about a tower site going down, we'll contact our customers in that area and get them upgraded. And then also those customers that we have that we know will be traveling through those areas and will be affected by the shutoff, we'll get their unit switched out as well. So if you're in, you need to talk with whoever your provider is to find out what their plan is for you to keep your units up and running.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a question, and I'm sure they've had those conversations with their folks, their suppliers, to what's the cost of this going to be, and how do I work that into my budget? I might have 2,000 of these units in my fleet, and the time and the labor it takes to go out, and these machines are in the field, and you got to get somebody out to switch these units out and upgrade to the new boxes. It's going to take some time as well.
Right. And obviously we're trying to work with particularly the guys who have a lot of 2G stuff to see if we can't, price as competitively as we can and help them with it. But the good news about it is when you switch, you're going to get better coverage. There'll be less latency. And as far as the eye can see, 3G is it. I mean, the stated position of AT&T is they have no intention to shut it down. And there's really no need to either. Because with 4G and LTE, they're going to have all the spectrum coverage they need. There's no reason to shut it down.
And it's like any other tool that you have. Once you get this tool on your equipment and you start using it, and then it goes away, it's really bad. And we have a rental fleet, a large dealer John Deere rental fleet, which is over 1,000 pieces, and we have to keep our units up as a dealer running too, because that's how we connect to our machines and repair our machines and map our machines and know how to get our lube trucks out there to them. And it's totally different than it was even 5 years ago. So to stay connected to the machines is even important to me as a dealer, to keep these up and changed out and the best software I can keep in them so that I can get information. And they have gotten better. You can tell the ones that we have 3G units in now compared to the 2G units. They're easier to connect to. The stream of information goes through faster, and we're able to get more information. So.
Yeah, and you're right. There's a lot of guys who have basically changed their whole approach to how they take care of machines for utilization, job costing, and maintenance and things like that. They're dependent on this now. It isn't like it's nice to have. It's part of the business, and sometimes pushing it into their ERP systems. So going down or having some machines out of coverage is a big problem.
Yeah, and the hard sell to this sometimes is I just bought the machine 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and that was part of the package, and now I've got to spend some more money to update my software, my box, and like we said, the labor to change it out. And but then the benefits really are far past what the cost is when you look at it, when you're trying to chase a lot of machines around and stay up with them. So the next question would be, what's a good approach to the telematics solutions and equipment life cycles and technology? Would you guys like to talk a little bit about how you've seen that change over the last few years?
Yeah, we've, like I said, we work closely, as do most of the other telematics companies, with the carriers so that we can stay up on technology and start producing equipment that's going to fit the needs of the future. So that you keep things like this to a minimum. We also switched to a SaaS price model so that when something like this comes along, we help keep the cost down. Whereas we own the equipment then, as opposed to you buying the equipment, and then something like this comes up and you got to buy new equipment. We can keep things flowing smoothly. Just keep the monthly rates low, and help you through that process as quick as possible.
Yeah, I wanted to say that compared to 2G or compared to 2003 and 4, it's much clearer, the vision of what's going down on it with the carriers, because we, like you, are subject to what the carriers are planning to do. So when they decide to switch from the 2 to 3, to get the information, you have to go to 3. And we're trying to make it as easy for you as possible. But again, I think the good news is you're going to get better coverage. It's more timely, less latency. And as things get bigger, like the AMP standard, the 2 is going to have a lot more data points than we thought before. You're going to be able to get that stuff a lot quicker than you did in the 2G. So you're actually going to get a benefit. I know it's kind of a forced benefit, but it isn't all bad. And the cost of 3G isn't a whole lot more than 2G was.
Okay. We're going to probably wrap up here now with some questions. We would like to hear from some of the other manufacturers. I'm sure we have some of those folks. Do we have any spokespersons here from some of the other manufacturers, Caterpillar or John Deere? Would you folks like to stand up and talk a little bit about what you got going on in your world as far as the 2G to the 3G? Do we have anybody here? Here we go. We got a couple up here now.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm Teresa Schisler, and I'm with Caterpillar. We are doing a U.S. Program with all of our dealers. So you work through our local dealer. Wherever you are, just go to the local dealer, and they're working through all our customers to help change out all of our devices. So we're going to the next generation of 3G devices. Whether you want just location and hours or you want all of your data, we're working to change all of our 2G devices to 3G.
It seemed like a couple years ago when this first came out that these devices were going black. Everybody kind of panicked. I've got to change all these and do this and that. And now the information is so important to everybody in the audience here that it's not really an issue of a little bit more cost or anything. Now it's the issue of just getting it changed and getting it done, and let's move forward so we can continue to get our data.
Correct. Yes. Like I said, we have a program, and it's actually moving really fast. Our dealers, McAllister's here too, and they've done a phenomenal job. If you just engage the dealer, tell them you want your fleet size. I mean, they have your fleet size, but the fleet size in your area, what you want to do, you want to get them changed out fast, and they'll engage and get them changed out. So we've worked really hard to have a great next generation. We're excited about it, and just contact the local dealer. We'll get you switched out.
Very good. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Liz from John Deere. I can say that we've learned quite a bit through this process of technology becoming obsolete during the term of someone owning a piece of equipment. And we're trying to take action on some of those learnings as we move forward with new versions of boxes and software, and making that support process easier, keeping in very good communication with our dealers and what we expect, and helping each other serve the customer better. So we're looking at future iterations of terminals right now, and what we're going to be able to provide with those. And again, really keeping an eye on the obsolescence process and support process that goes along with that. We've taken a look at typical ownership terms, and also trying to take a look at how many of you all want to equip your used machines. If you're a second owner of a piece of equipment, do you want to continue tracking that and gathering all the data that comes off of that? So that's another new thing that we're keeping an eye on, and trying to understand how to best support you and what your needs are there.
Thank you. Do we have any other suppliers that would like to talk a little bit? I guess okay. Very good. Thank you.
Hello. Hey, I'm Hilton Wood with Volvo Construction Equipment. Basically, to hit on the same points that Caterpillar and John Deere hit on, we have some programs running right now as well to get your hardware changed out. So again, just contact your local Volvo dealer, and they can help you work that out. That's basically all I had.
Very good. Thank you. I guess the next question I'd like to kind of pose to you folks out there is there's probably a lot of devices in this audience with all the amount of fleet that you folks have. We would like to have some feedback. How can we make this change and easier for you folks? What can we do as manufacturers and dealerships to help you guys as end users to make this thing go forward and it's smoother and more? I know some of you folks have equipment scattered all over the United States, and it's really tough to track all this stuff down and get the stuff changed out, and it interferes with job sites and workplace environment and safety, and what can we do to help you? Anybody have any comments or suggestions or questions? Over here.
Okay. Hi, Chris Wheeler. I'm with Trimble Navigation. One of the things that I'd love to see that the OEMs do is figure out a way within your telematics boxes to provide a pass-through of data opportunity for our customers. We are putting dual boxes onto too many machines, and in some cases, we're finding it necessary to put 3 boxes on there, which means that our customers are taking on the burden and the necessity of having more than one cellular plan on each of those machines. So as we look through things and we look and we're doing security and we obviously want to protect the CAN or J1939 data and such as on the machine, we need to figure out a way to allow that data to also be able to pass through. So people such as myself that do 3D project monitoring and want to have a high-value data stream that's going to be passed back to the customer don't have to put a secondary box on there. Companies such as Navman and others aren't having to do that. They can allow you to get to their back end in order to also process and help and develop those pieces out. So I just ask that as we kind of look at that and we think about the development going forward, we don't always say, hey, let's put a $40 box on there. Let's put a little bit of extra pieces in there so we can support these for our customers.
Very good. Thank you. Anybody else have anything? Any comments? Here we got one up front here.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Theo Goossens from Sarens Global, from Belgium. I have a question on the panel. We have a business unit in Australia and specific on Barrow Island. There is no any coverage anymore for 2G, and on a short time they will going over on 3G. But they told us when we have the equipment over there with 3G that we not can use it in the US because we have also business units here in the US. What is the difference between the 3G in Australia and the 3G who will become here or who is here in the US?
Can you guys help us with that?
I'd be speculating without looking at specifics on the maps and what it is. But it might be that it's GSM over in Europe, because GSM is big in Europe, where CDMA is big over here. And it could be that, you know, you'd have to have two SIMs to make it work, basically, because one's a completely different thing than the other, is my only guess. But I know you, and I'll research that. I'll find out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good question. Do we have any other questions out there? Have one over here, Katie.
Just talk to the hand, what you're saying? Okay. So just to clarify maybe some of the conversations we've had and not to try and put words in anybody's mouth, I'm with Western States. We're the cat dealer in Idaho. And for most of the Caterpillar equipment, when we talk about having a program to convert that, what that means to you guys as end users is in most cases that's not going to be of any cost to you. If there is, it's usually travel time and mileage. I can't say in every case absolutely it's free. But I just want to be clear that we recognize the impact on you guys and your business, the investment you've already made into telematics, and we're trying to support that as well as Caterpillar, the factory. So we talk about having programs. We have programs, we have plans in place to get everybody converted over in the time that we need and at minimal cost to you guys. So I just wanted to clarify more than a question, I guess.
Very good. Thank you. Do we have any other questions out there? Okay. Well, I think we'll wrap up this session. If y'all folks would like to give John and Fred a hand here today for their help with this.